We'd like to thank Torah Anytime, as well as Shul.com and Shari Ezra. Today is Gimel Tevet, Tavshin Pei Gimel. Today is the Yartzai Mini Tzadikim and Tzidkaniyot, most notably that of Rav Gershon Henoch ben Rav Yaakov Leiner, more famously known as the Admor Meradzin, who was very famous for the breakthrough technology of, he supposedly said that he found the Tchelet, and therefore he went around telling everyone that they have a chiyuv to wear it. It's a mitzvah taseh min Torah. Many people do wear it, some people don't wear that. They say it's not really that because the Gemara tells us that the Tchelet was nignaz, it was hidden. So some people argue, they say no, it's the sign of Ikveta de Mashiach, the Mashiach is coming, and therefore we do have the Tchelet. It's a back and forth. Some people do wear it, some people don't wear it, and many people on both sides of the aisle hold it something that is something definitely worth looking into at least. And we are very much makir tov to the Radzina Rav for making it very public. The halacha is that we discussed yesterday, when you have certain items and you make a bracha on them, it has to be specifically tailored to that bracha. So yesterday we discussed sugarcane. What bracha do you make on that? Today, many people have all these newfangled health bars, and a lot of them are made out of dates, because dates have a lot of potassium, and they have a lot of vitamins and nutrients, and sometimes a little bit of caffeine. And people want to eat that. They want a very health conscious, and therefore they want to dafka have like these health bars made primarily of crushed dates. So the question, I get this probably asked once every 3 to 4 months, is what bracha do you make on these bars? So very interesting, it's actually a machloket between SEPHARDIC and ASHKENAZim. You're going to say, what's a machloket? Machloket is like this. If you take an item and totally pulverize it, you destroy it, and all you have is just the pulp, it's just a mass, just a pile of stuff, do you consider it still that item just in a diced form? A good mashal for that is, the mashal, if you would have diced up cucumbers, right? Even though it's finely sliced, you can still see it's a cucumber. Diced up tomatoes, even though it's finely diced, you can still recognize it's a tomato. So the argument then, therefore, is, if you have, let's say, pulverized dates, it's still a date. Or do you say, no, it's not a date, it's mush, I don't know what it is. So, Maran, in Beit Yosef says, anything that is completely diced still retains its form, and just like you were to have, let's say, diced up cucumbers or tomatoes, you make a borei pri ha'adama. The same thing as well for these health bars, you make a borei pri ha'etz, even though it's completely pulverized. However, Ashkenazim, they argue, and they say, what are you talking about? A cucumber and a tomato, that I could see. But a pulverized piece, a date, I have no clue what this is. I don't know, it's mush. For all I know, it's, I don't know, chopped liver. I don't know I have no idea what it is. So the way you know that is if you go over to, because kids, they say the truth, right? You look over, the kids will be like, what is that? They don't even know what it is, right? That's a good way, an indicator of knowing what an item is. Therefore, based on that, the Ashkenazim, they'll make borei pri adama, that's a downgraded bracha, or even a sha'akol, because based on that, they don't know what it is. Both, according to both opinions, however, the Yalkut Yosef points out, even if you were to make a sha'akol, which is very interesting, if you were to eat a lot of these bars, it would come out that sometimes you have what's called a shiur achila, and if you have a shiur achila, you'd have to make a borei pri, you'd have to make a ala etz, bracha me'en shalosh, because you ate a tremendous amount of that, you have to make a ala etz for that. So even according to those that say you make a sha'akol, you'd still have to make ala etz if you consume, let's say, 2 to 2.5 bars of these health bars. That would be considered ala etz in such a scenario. We say in the tefillah, right before Shemana Esrei, you say, Ezrat Avotenu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you helped our fathers, Magenu Mashiach, you're always a protector, and you're a shield for us, and you save us. And we talk about Yetziat Mitzrayim. Says the Reshit Chochmah. Why are we saying that? He says again, it's the idea that we're getting us in the mode. You're about to approach Melech Machiam Lachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the way you do that properly is understanding He's your Father. He always helped you, and He'll continue to help you. And what's the proof He will help you? Look, He helped our forefathers get out of Mitzrayim, greatest miracle known to man. Mitzrayim was known as Kura Barzel and did not allow anyone to leave. That answers a question everyone has, which is, why didn't Yosef at Tzaddik? He's the viceroy, the second in charge. Why didn't he just leave Eretz Mitzrayim and go to Eretz Canaan, visit his father? The answer is, once you're in Mitzrayim, you were stuck. You were not allowed to leave. So the fact that a whole nation of people, they were able to get out, is a miracle beyond description. And it was the original Iron Curtain beforehand, before Russia was around. They did not allow anyone to leave. But Mitzrayim had that as well. So Ezrat Avotenu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you help us in all scenarios. 2 more ideas, so this will conclude. The Kovet Shiorim, Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, he has the following Chakira. Let's say I go over to you and I say, listen, I need a real favor. Can you do me a favor? Can I borrow $100? You're like, okay, Rabbi Sova, listen now, I'll lend you $100. Here you go. So give me $100 cash. And 2 weeks later, I come back to you, I'm like, listen, I'm really, really sorry, Mechila, times are not so good. And you say, you know what, Rabbi Sova, I really like you. I want to be on your next TorahAnytime.com thing. Just mention my name, say my name or whatever, storiesttoinspire.org or something. You mention my name or something. You do me a favor. Just, I'm mochelet. I forgive you. So here's the question. When you say you're mochel me, the chov of paying you $100, how is that working? Does it work, says Rabbi Chanan, that it's pitur hashava? Meaning, I don't have to give it to you anymore. Meaning, you just told me I don't have to. Meaning, you absolved me from that chiyuv. Or do we say, no, it's ki'ilu, it's as if I gave you $100. So you're going to say, well, what's the difference? Very simple. Let's say you're so upset at me that you say to me, Sova, I want to have nothing to do with you. Zero to do with you. I'm noder hana mimenu. I say I'm having no hana from you whatsoever, no benefit. So now, I sold you $100. Now, the $100 that I have to give you, if you told me that you're mochelet, so it came out, you actually did a favor for me, right? You understand? So the favor that you did, or I say, I don't want to have anything to do with you. So you did a favor for me. So this favor now, I'm getting a favor from you. So maybe I wouldn't be allowed to do that. I'd actually have to pay you. But if you say that it's not a favor, it's just, you're saying it's a kilo hitkabalti, it's as if I accepted it, so it's as if I paid. So there's no hana, and that would be totally fine. That would be enough community between that. And just to conclude with this idea, it says in Revi'i, right before Yaakov and his family are going out to Eretz Yisrael to go towards Mitzrayim, it says they came to Be'er Sheva, vayizbach zvachim lelokei aviv Yitzchak, and they brought offerings to the God of his father Yitzchak. To the God of his father. What about Abraham? Why Yitzchak? So we're thinking a possible interpretation is, who was Yitzchak? Yitzchak was an olat mimah that never left the environment of Eretz Yisrael. He never left. And therefore, since he never left, he was considered a ben Eretz Yisrael. He was someone who was there. Yaakov was very nervous. I'm going into Galut, Mitzrayim, Ervat Haaretz. What am I going to do? I have Kedushat Haaretz. I have the holiness of the land. How am I going to have that? How am I going to retain that for my family? He wants his family to remember. So what does he tell everyone? Everyone, before we're about to leave Beersheba, which is the border town of that of Mitzrayim, we need to bring a korban in the name of our father Yitzchak. Yitzchak was Olat. Don't forget your grandfather Yitzchak. Don't forget for what he stood for. Don't forget the ideals of what he stood for, of being Olat Mount. He's a Ben Eretz Yisrael. That is our family as well. And if a person understands that's their family, I remember there was a very chashuv Rosh Yeshiva. He was tragically taken away from us a few weeks ago. Rabbi Shmuel Yehuda Levine. He had in his home that Nelcha el Beit Hashem. Right when you walked in, it says, we're all going to the house of Hashem. Meaning when you walked in, you were walking in the environs of that of ASHKENAZ. You were walking in a holy house. You know that this is our home. So a person has to know. People, let's say, have pictures of Eretz Yisrael. They talk about going to Eretz Yisrael. The idea is that you have something that you're connected to, something that's very high. So hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem, you remember who your great-grandparents were, what they stood for, and ultimately, if you do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless everyone's endeavors, that they'll always continue to go upon spiritual level, and B'ezrat Hashem continue to grow. Rabbi Chanan ben Akasha Omer.